Okay, welcome everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
Give me a little bit of time to get my decorum here. Okay. Are we ready to start? I think we are we not? Stephen?
Yeah, I've given you co-host control, so you can...
Shut everybody up.
Exactly.
Can I ask everybody to put their microphones on mute for now? And as I said, if you're on a PC, I said this before, if you're on a PC, you can unmute by pressing the space bar when you want to speak. Okay, is everybody happy? Okay, right. We'll start off with apologies for absence. In my knowledge, I think we only have one, do we, Steve?
Yeah, it's Councillor Timble has apologised.
Okay, no other apologies, is there?
Well, everyone else seems present.
Yes, there seems to be. It's good to see such a good turnout, isn't it? Any declarations of interest then, please? No? Okay. Okay, I'll just do a little bit of a preamble and a little bit of an introduction to this special meeting today. And as I said, thank you for all the interest that we've seen today and all the engagement that we've seen around this issue. But of course, we've got a special issue today to discuss Underhill, which, as all of you know, it's quite a central location within our community. A park which provides a lot of centre for a lot of our clubs, rugby clubs, football clubs, netball clubs, and cricket clubs in the past. The cricket club plays there as well. And of course, it's got a long, long history within the community. As some of you know, that in the past I was involved in as a trustee of Mumbles Community Association, and I was interested to find out some of the history from my involvement in that, to be honest. Some of the people were telling me that the original pavilion and grounds there were built by Canadian servicemen in the war. But the thing is, now we've still got that original pavilion. And of course, this discussion has come about from a long-standing initiative within the community. You know, I've been living in Mumbles for over 20 years. And I remember going back to when my children were little, to be honest, and we had Underhill 2000, as it was then, which was all about improving the facilities in the park in the year 2000. So here we are 20 years later, and we're still discussing the issue. And of course, this is quite a central meeting today. Now, I realise we all realise that emotions are running high over this issue. And I would ask the councillors try to keep the discussions today quite substantive. I don't think we really don't want to get into more the minutiae of the discussions around Underhill, because I think I fear that we'll just go round in circles yet again and maybe not come up with a resolution of how it is that we're going to go forward here. We've had the proposal. I'm one of the proposers of this, as you know, clear on that. But this is a proposal that a number of us have been working on for a good few months now. And of course, as I alluded to, there's a long history of discussions within Mumbles about improving Underhill Park. So we've had question and answer sessions. This meeting is going to be, it is being recorded and will be available to the public afterwards and to any interested parties or relevant stakeholders. And so what I would sort of say, let's all be civil, let's all have a good discussion here. Let's have a constructive discussion. As I said, try please to keep the substantive issues rather than the more minute, because I think a lot of the stuff with that will come out in the wash, as it were. Whatever we decide today, if we do decide today to go forward with this initiative, there's still a massive amount of work still left to be done. There's grant applications to be done, there's business plans to be put together, there's governance structures to formulate. So there is still a lot of work to be done on this. So at this point, I think I'll hand over to Will Thomas, who's going to put forward the proposal. Oh, Steve, sorry, when do we consider the amendments? Is it now?
You can choose to do that now. If you're accepting the amendment, you could propose to do that now, yes.
Do you want me to cover that, Martin? Because I've kind of incorporated them into...
Okay, yeah, I know things have been all a little bit rushed towards the very end. So if I just hand over to you, Will, and then maybe if we can hand over to Carwyn to maybe answer any final questions.
Sorry, can I just put in a request, Martin, which is that as you, as chair, should be impartial, that you actually don't participate in any of the actual debate on this, but you leave it to Will and Carwyn to do that.
That is exactly why I've structured it this way. And this is exactly the way that I've tried to structure it, where I've introduced it impartially, given a bit of a history to the initiative. I will now hand over to Will and then Carwyn, and then I will chair the debate. Okay, Will, can we do that?
Yeah, thanks very much, Martin. And I'd just like to start off by, thanking yourself, Carwyn, Steve, and Paul for, what as you said, it's been a few months we've been working on this, and there's been a lot of work that's gone into it, and everyone's worked very hard, and we've had many phone calls and meetings, and it's a very well organised proposal. So, as you know, as many of you are aware, there's been a few proposals put forward to myself, Carwyn, and Martin today for us to consider adding to ours. So hopefully we've covered everything and kept everyone happy and on board. So if I'll read out the proposal from the start here. So firstly, there's been some, in my opinion, complete confusion with how this relates to the skate park, and I personally see no reason how this affects the skate park at all. So the proposal starts off by saying, which is alteration to the one you've got, proposed. The council supports the proposal, which enables progress on the facilities at Underhill Park without jeopardising the ability of MCC to progress other projects to which it is committed in this financial year. Pause. Part two of the proposal then is the main body, which is what we've all had. Propose that our council supports the proposal to underwrite the expenditure up to 1.2 million over 3 years to secure the facilities outlined for Underhill Park below and meet the future deficit funding for the maintenance of the park of up to £15,000 per annum for a maximum of 3 years, subject to: number one, MCA entering into a formal agreement drafted by our solicitor; number two, the Welsh Government giving loan sanction; number three, MCA continuing to seek grant and community funding in order to minimise the contribution from MCC; number four, MCC being able to nominate up to 2 MCA trustees; number five, a permanent plaque being erected in a prominent place on the new building, recognising MCC support in providing the new facilities. Then there's a couple of extra parts to the proposal. Next part, that in the meantime, the grant request from MCA of £40,000 to enable progress to be made up to tender stage and preparing contract documents be approved, with the sum to be set out against the underwritten amount referred to above. Someone who's got a dog
Sorry, I thought I was muted. Sorry, I thought.
Okay, no problem at all. No problem.
Sorry, Will, can I just point out that actually they're two separate proposals?
Sorry, let me just finish the whole thing. Thank you, Carrie. Next section. Proposed One Voice Wales consultancy service are engaged at a cost of £1,125 to, number 1, write a due diligence report for council. Number 2, draft terms of reference for the required legal agreement. Number 3, MCA entering into a formal agreement. We also then had a proposal from Rebecca, who is obviously concerned about the use of the building and what that might mean in the future. So Rebecca has proposed, and we've very happy to accept, because it's in part of the proposal. MCA entering into a formal agreement drafted by a solicitor that safeguards the park and the buildings as a community asset for the use primarily of the Mumbles community for at least the duration of the lease. And that is the proposal.
Rebecca, did you want to come in on that? Were you indicating?
Yeah, it was only because my proposed amendment was just to add those words to the original point I, so I thought we'd skipped over it, but it's been included now. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments, questions, points for clarification, discussion?
Yeah, can I ask, how long is the lease for? Hello?
Hello, yeah. Carwyn, do you want to come in on that?
That's a good start. I don't know the honest answer to that one.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Know.
It's a 125-year lease.
Yeah,
the MCA from Swansea Council.
Yeah, 125. I thought that. Okay, Pamela, did you want to come in?
Has the issue of the trustees been sorted out since the last time the meeting when you were asked about it in the special meeting? This thing about what are the laws around trustees of MCC on a charity and what voting rights etc. do we have? Has that been sorted out?
Can I answer that, Chair?
Please.
Certainly, Stephen, come in on that.
It's just because I was involved with speaking to Paul Egan. That's part of the due diligence and report on the agreement with MCA. So that's being addressed by One Voice Wales. Should you? It's proposed that it's addressed by One Voice Wales. Should you agree to that?
In that case, it needs to be taken out of the proposal because we don't have enough information on it yet. We can't vote ourselves too if the advice comes back from. What happens if the advice comes back from One Voice Wales that is just not what we should be doing? But we've already voted it in that we'll accept too. How does that work? I don't know how it works.
Can I make a suggestion? You could add two trustees or an equivalent governance mechanism or something along those lines.
That sounds a sensible suggestion to me.
Have anybody had any outside advice on what our representation on that committee should be?
Steve, I don't know whether you want to come back on that, but I would have thought that it's exactly what we want to go to One Voice Wales for.
Exactly. It's a very complicated area of the law, and what we're trying to achieve is to get sort of the relationship between MCA and ourselves so that the community are protected. So it may be that there's other methods to use. We don't know the best at the moment, do we? And that's what, as Martin says, that's what One Voice Wales will report on back onto you on what the best mechanism is.
Has MCA agreed to abide by what One Voice Wales advises us to do?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh.
Have MCA been told that we are seeking advice from One Voice Wales, and have they agreed to comply with the advice that One Voice Wales gives us?
Well, we wouldn't be able to proceed unless we comply with the advice from One Voice Wales. When it comes to proceeding via due diligence, if we don't adhere to due diligence, we won't be able to proceed. So that will be pull the carpet from under the whole proposal, really. Carrie, do you want to come in?
Yeah, it just seems sensible. Instead of 4 being MCC being able to nominate 2 MCA trustees, we change it to take advice, to follow the advice of One Voice Wales with regard to governance of the project.
Okay. Sarah, do you want to come in?
A suggestion, is there a chance they'll accept us being always having a community councillor chair? What do you think?
Again, to my way of thinking here, we are getting into exactly what I talked about right at the very beginning, about getting more onto minutiae rather substantive issues, because a lot of this is going to be academic. We don't know what the government structures are going to be until we get a clear steer from One Voice Wales, and then we would be in a better position to say exactly what the government structures were. But I am confident that because of the amount of loan involved and the type of project that we're proposing, that One Voice Wales will give us a clear and robust steer on that.
Does that go as well for the lease, Martin? Because somebody said that if they go bankrupt, they will hand over the lease to us. But I've heard separately that under charity law, they cannot do that. The Charities Commission will decide where the lease for that goes. Is that also being addressed?
Yeah.
That is a point that was covered by Rebecca's amendment. And again, if we go forward on this initiative, I am sure that, that the likes of One Voice Wales, the whole purpose of One Voice Wales is there to advise, protect the interest of community councils. So they will be in the best place to advise us, and they have got the relevant legal and financial experts. Sarah?
I was just saying, sorry about the minutiae, but this is a really important decision, and I just need clarification. Does that mean that we pay the One Voice Wales solicitors to look into, to read the contract and come back to us and say, okay, this is all right, this is good, and they put the checks and balances in for us so that we've got a safety?
Yes, that's in the proposal, isn't it? And that's part of the bid.
All right, so I thought it was just paying for some.
No, it's part of the bid. It was part of the proposal that we'll just put forward.
Sorry, Martin, there is no contract yet, is there? We haven't started writing the contract yet, have we?
Pardon?
We haven't got a contract yet, have we?
With who?
With MCA.
No, this is the whole purpose of this, is to discuss the format of the contract and to go forward with a contract approach.
Well, look, there's a community partnership agreement that's in the annex to this proposal that could be used as a template should we believe that it is sufficient after seeking advice from One Voice Wales and our solicitors, so that we can move forward hand in glove. This is a community partnership. We will be constantly liaising with each other to make sure that everybody is doing as they should be, so that we're diligent and can't be held afterwards that we've done anything unlawfully.
Okay, Carrie?
Yeah, this is purely an administrative request. Could Will please email out to us all the revised wording?
Why didn't we have it beforehand?
So that we can all know exactly what it is that we are actually voting on.
Yeah, certainly. I've just copy and pasted it into Steve. So Steve, if you want to circulate it, it might be better.
Is that by email you sent it?
Yeah, I sent it to you and Paul, word for word, exactly what I just said. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Rebecca, do you want to come in?
Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Martin. So the points I want to raise really are around the way in which we frame this and communicate it, because there is a lot of public interest in this project, rightly so. There's a lot of stakeholders and moving parts, and as you mentioned, Martin, there's a lot of work that will remain to be done, even if we unanimously agree this proposal. This is a huge amount of money, and it's not without risk. There's a real risk that there's a perception of us putting all of our eggs in one basket. I've already seen one comment, why are we spending all this money on one thing when there's something else in the community that does need work? And that's a point that we have to be able to rebut and make clear what our justification is. So I think it's really important that we agree this evening that we will also be open and transparent with the public about the remaining steps in the process, and what is within scope and what's not within scope. So it should be clear for the public, it should be on the public record, that this proposal doesn't include anything in the list of the wish list beyond the all-weather pitch that's on page 7 of the proposal document. It should be clear, and we should be well communicating that we have to apply for permission to apply for a loan.
Yeah.
So it's a long process. This is not going to get done overnight. It should be clear that a loan of 840,000 is going to result in £100,000 worth of interest repayments. So again, that's something to be taken into consideration, and it should be clear that there is significant risk associated with the grant funding for the all-weather pitch. If that grant funding doesn't come together, this proposal does not enable Mumbles Community Council to top up that money. So this is not actually a promise that the all-weather pitch is going to get built. So just urge all councillors, this is a really positive step forward, and I think the proposal has been pulled together with a lot of attention to detail. I particularly like to congratulate the inclusion of the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act perspective, and thank Helen Nelson for her involvement on that regard. But I do think we should agree together here this evening that we're going to be straight with the public and not promise them the moon when actually there is still a long road ahead of us.
Thank you for that, Rebecca. Thank you very much. Will, would you?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to come back to Rebecca on that really, and just say that that all makes sense. That's perfectly fine. And what we could recommend is that we do a blog post and maybe even do some publicity around the exact steps that we're going to take after this. I mean, when we put the proposal forward, I think you've seen it with the agenda. There's a clear proposal that the public can view, and we did circulate it on social media quite heavily. And that attached document, I feel is very transparent and shows all the figures clearly there. But I do totally agree that maybe we could make it the key part of a newsletter that goes out, our next newsletter that goes out to the whole area. And we can really get down to the detail and include exactly what's promised. Yes.
Can I just add one little thing, Martin, on what Will's just said there, which is just to say that the vast majority of the public are not reading 30-page documents. So I'd really welcome a short blog post that's really clear and summarises the main steps ahead of us.
That's a very good point, Rebecca. Thank you very much. Can I bring Pamela in?
I'm sorry, you said this is somewhere on social media. I don't really do social media, so where is it out there?
Sorry?
I just said that the document and the breakdown is going out on social media somewhere. I don't know where that is.
Yeah, just myself and Adam, for example, posted it on a number of different sites, Facebook, Nextdoor, things like that.
Yeah, and again, I don't really want to go off on that point because there's been a lot of social media activity over the past few days, which I'm not going to comment on. But I do think that it's important that we as a community council manage our social media profile in relation to taking this project forward and make sure, exactly as Rebecca says, that the public are kept informed of developments and of changes that might occur as the plan goes forward, if it goes forward. Pamela, did you want to come in?
This was put together for us. That's not going public, is it? Because there are huge parts of the perspectives. Lots of people are worried about different parts of the perspectives, so that needs to be looked at. You can't just put. No. I'm planning just to put the perspectives out. If not, I advise against it.
And that was exactly the point I was trying to make, to be honest, is I think going forward, the way, we need to manage it's part of our information sharing profile that we need to manage as a community council. It's all very well and good individual community councillors posting on social media, and you know there's nothing we can do to stop that. You free grown-up people and sort of stuff like that, but at the same time, when it comes to managing information about not only this project but other projects, I think it is important. And you know, we've got people who work in publicity, we've got people who work in social media and stuff like that. And I think it's just very important, as I said, just reflecting what Rebecca said there, that we manage this information going forward. Because you know what happens, people do put false information out there. They do try to detract. And it is important that we as a community council do our best to manage the narrative. Can I bring Adam in on this? And Adam, you're muted before you start talking.
Yeah, just to echo your words, can we agree that whatever the outcome of this meeting, it is MCC Facebook page that makes the announcement? So rather than 20 of us all post different things and say the wrong thing or say the bad thing, MCC says it factually, very short, 2 sentences, and that may stop any misinformation or confusion, whatever the outcome.
I think that's a very good point, Adam, and I would echo that personally. Oh, sorry, Carrie, I didn't see you down there in the corner.
Hi, yes. Can I just request that this meeting acknowledges the fact that what is written in that proposal is not set in stone?
Well, yeah.
I think there's a real risk that people will say, oh, but it said so in that proposal, therefore it must be true. Yeah. There's a huge amount of work to be done on how it will be funded, where the funding will come from, what is the detail of the proposal. And I would just like this meeting to acknowledge that that is a draft proposal and it is not set in stone.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I agree with that. Yeah. Can I bring Richard in, please?
Yeah, going on from what Adam said, it's about taking the politics out of it. If you take the politics out of things, we can unite as community council and get things done. Because we have been in danger, as I said before, of getting nothing done. But we've got 3 big projects, being the skate park, Underhill, and the tennis courts in Landland on the go. And then, not long down the road, there's the Ostream Centre. There's no reason, if we pull it together, take politics out of it, we can't get all these things done. You know, it's what I think we were elected to do. I think it's what the public deserve. Just
okay.
Generalism.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I just bring in Miles and then I'll bring in Sarah?
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of quickly echo what Richard was saying there. You know, the fact of the matter is, the community don't really care about the politics. They want the result. And we're an amazing opportunity here to just forget about all that and deliver a result. And this being a really, really good starting point, but not the only thing that we do. I think it would be really sort of bad form if we didn't take this opportunity to deliver that. So yeah, thanks, Richard. And I think we really need to sort of pull together and get this sorted now.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Miles. Sarah, in now, please.
Yeah, going back to MCA, what I'm concerned about is we don't get project spread, where we agree to have finance so far, then grants fall through and it comes back to the table and it's like, oh, we've started now, can we pay for this extra bit? It's just exhausting. If we can just say this is how much we've committed to and no further, that would be great.
Okay.
In the changing financial climate, are we really going to have to say to ourselves, well, if grants fall through, if the WRU doesn't have any money, lots of firms are stopping sponsorship, then we're going to have to put plans in place to pick up the slack. You know, lots of companies are now stopping their sponsorship of people, they're stopping their charities back that they have ready to give to charities. We have to be ready that if something falls through, we have to be ready to take steps to make up for that. It isn't, you know, the proposal that was made wasn't made in the financial climate that we're in now, and we have to put things in place to do that. My point I made was, could it say propose that our council supports the draft proposal, please, not the proposal.
Can I bring Rob in, please? Where's he gone?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to echo again what Richard and Miles have just said, I'm going to be quite blunt. For the last 3 years, we've been ineffective as a community council because we haven't worked together. This is the perfect example of a fantastic project. Yes, there are risks. There are risks to this, but I think the risks are worth taking to actually deliver something. We've taken £750,000, is it more? No, £1.5 million off the taxpayer since we were elected, and we haven't shown anything big for that. I think this is perfect thing. We can all get behind it. No politics. It's community first, politics second with a small p.
Okay, thank you for that, Rob. Okay, anybody else would like to come in with anything? No? Well, that's nice. Rebecca, go on quickly.
Just to raise that I would like to ask a question after we've taken the vote, please.
After you've taken the vote, okay. Are we okay just to move forward to a straight vote on this, Stephen?
Martin,
Miles, yeah.
Is it, how are we doing the vote? Is it a named vote?
That's why I was asking Stephen. I don't think we've had a request for that.
I'm just about to request. I think it's important that we show that hopefully this has got strong support. So I think it's important that this is a named vote, and it just guarantees that everybody is clear which way they're voting.
So Carrie is requesting a named vote then, okay? Sarah, did you want to come in?
Is this the two separate votes, one for going as far as the tender, and then a separate?
No, there's just one vote for the proposal.
Oh,
right. There are four separate proposals. We should vote on each proposal separately. Yeah. It is put down as four separate proposals, so we do have to vote on each one separately.
Can I just jump in on this? Steve, could we take your advice on that, please?
Yes.
Well, there's two things. If you want to take it as separate proposal, separate sections, you can request that. And if you decide that's the way you want to go, you can. You can just see it as one proposal with different parts and vote on parts 1 to 4. It's really up to you.
That's how I see it, Martin. I don't know about you and Carwyn, but I see it as well.
Do we need to put it to a vote in the first instance, Steve, that whether we take it as one vote?
I think it's just easier if we've got it on the agenda as 4 proposals. Let's just do it as 4 proposals.
Stephen,
let's just keep it straight.
Excuse me, could you take your time to speak in time? I'm asking Stephen his advice. Could we just go to a vote as to whether we take it as one proposal or take it as separate proposals? And then, depending on that, we decide which way we go from there.
Exactly. Yeah, that seems a sensible approach.
Thank you very much for that, Stephen. Do you want to come in?
Yes. Most of us have only just had this proposal, so if we went through it section by section, we would at least have a chance to read it through as we were voting for it.
I really don't think.
Chair, sorry, could I suggest that you have 5-minute adjournment?
Oh, I can't see my.
People read the thing, because there's been 2 last-minute amendments that I'm aware of within half an hour of the meeting. So it has only just gone out in this form. You've got 5 minutes, you can read it, and so on.
Steve, could you send it to my other iPad, because I've got the usual problem. I can't look at it. It's sarah.keaton@ntlworld.com.
Yeah. Hold on, Mumbles, there's your email address now, Sarah.
Pardon? Never mind. I just needed to read it.
So I've got sarah.keaton@ntlworld. Was that the one you said?
Thank you.
So Martin, if you officially adjourn the meeting,
yes,
I'll stop the recording and
So we adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes, is it? Is that enough time? Or do you want 10?
5 is fine.
5 is fine.
5, yeah.
We'll adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, great news. My question is, what are the next steps now that we have a lot of work ahead of us? Who